Welcome back to the layout for layout update number 6. I've gotten a lot of work done and I just figured I'd give you guys a quick video of what's been happening. That I upload every Tuesday and Saturday, so make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button so you know as soon as I upload. In addition, I also have an Instagram page for my layout, rj.trains. There'll be a link in the description below. If you follow along, you can see some rail fanning action along with daily layout updates. As I've been doing in my previous updates, I'm going to start with the left side of the table and then work my way towards the right. So first up, right in front, as I mentioned in my previous layout update video, I installed the model power fencing, as well as I painted a metal toy American Revolution soldier that I had from who knows when, and I painted it up in gray to look like a statue to go along with the cannon. Eventually, I hope to build a pedestal for the both of them and to have it as a memorial in the town center. Additionally, in the back corner of the layout, although it is just a small touch, I added a tree to that little hill back there. That is a woodland scenics tree from a kit that I've had sitting around for a long time now. Moving towards the middle of the layout now, this is where the majority of the work has been. As I mentioned in my last layout update video, I intended on making the parking lot, and I've done just that using black flat spray enamel from Home Depot along with some yellow paint pens. Now the process used in creating this, all I did was I just laid some painter's tape on the grass mat, spray painted where I would want the parking lot to be, and then I touched up the rough edges with paint markers. And it turns out great. The grass mat, as I've mentioned previously in videos, it has a great texture to it that when you add the black spray paint, it gives an asphalt-like texture in person, and you can pick it up on the camera. And then right on top of the grass mat, you can use paint markers, and it gives fine lines that give you realistic parking spaces. As you can see right up front here, I was able to draw handicap parking spaces with a blue paint marker. The stripes were all done using a ruler to make sure that they were straight, and then the handicapped markings themselves I did by freehand by simply looking at a picture of them online. As for the rest of this parking lot, I'm waiting on a couple of white paint pens from Amazon. Hopefully I'll be getting those sometime in the near future, but once that happens, I'll be able to complete this parking lot. The Piggly Wiggly also received parking spaces. Now, I'm not 100% happy with them. With these, I use painter's tape and acrylic paint, and the only problem that I have with it is that it's very difficult to get thin lines. Painter's tape doesn't exactly stick the best to the grass mat, and the acrylic paint's able to seep under it, and then you don't get straight lines, and thus resulting in the thicker lines. After a few hours of going back over it with a black paint marker, it's looking acceptable, but when the layout gets more complete, I'll probably revisit this and touch it up a little bit more. And just continuing with the theme of the road, I started adding a double yellow stripe down the center of the main street. I was doing this with a yellow paint marker, but unfortunately both of them that I had ended up going dry on me, so it stuck like this until the stores reopened. One of the big things I completed was that I repainted my Lionel passenger station. Now, as some of you may recall, that I had this red and green passenger station, which was a Long Island Railroad passenger station that Lionel cataloged back when they first put out the Long Island M7 set. And it wasn't entirely accurate to the Long Island colors. The Long Island Railroad did have red and green passenger stations back when they were under the Pennsylvania Railroad ownership, but they actually had green sides and red roofs, so Lionel had the colors reversed, and it just didn't seem to fit in with the rest of the layout, so I decided to repaint it. Now, my inspiration was the Deer Park train station from 1973. I stumbled across a picture of it, and it fit this general shape of the station that I already had. Now, the windows are obviously different shapes, and they're windows in different places, but overall, it kind of looks the same. So I just decided to go head first and paint it up. It only took a few layers of acrylic paint to repaint this, and a lot of time. I probably put 4 or 5 hours into repainting this the other day, but I think it turned out fantastic. There are still some spaces that I have to touch up on, but I even have the MTA Long Island Railroad accurate sign now hanging off of it. I should also mention that I repainted the roof using spray paint to a black color and repainted the gutter to a white, which it was originally gold, to accurately match the station from 1973. Now inside the station itself, excuse the mess, but I painted the floor a brown and the walls a white, albeit pretty sloppily. But the reasoning behind this is because I repainted everything out of the red, but the light inside still showed the red walls on the inside, giving the entire building a red appearance from the outside when the lights were on. So now with the white painted onto the walls, it now looks like it's white on the inside instead of red. Overall, I am extremely happy with this, and I plan on adding a couple more details to it, albeit gutters or the salt box, which is seen on the side of the building. But I think it's looking fantastic, and I'm really glad I went ahead with this project. One last note here about the station work. I had more of that model power fence, so I hot glued that in between the rail and the parking lot, and I also ballasted this little bit in between the track and the fence. Now, the last new scene here on the layout is this little farm scene. So before I started building this layout, I actually stockpiled on a bunch of JTT scenery corn stalks because I thought on my new layout I'd have a farm. And then I built that mountain, which you may remember. It is now in the back corner. And so I never attached that to the layout. So I moved it to the back corner of the layout and decided to put in this scene. I actually just put in the scenery in between the two main lines about an hour ago, so it's still drying, so that's why the colors are a little bit off, or it looks a little bit wavy on the grass mat. But this was all done using pink foam and Woodland Scenics materials, and the scene's not complete yet, so my video on Tuesday is going to be more about this farm scene. So I'm not going to go too far into it here, but make sure to check back on Tuesday to check that out. Now, that about does it for scenery work that's been done on the layout, but I just wanted to show you a couple things that have come in since the last video. The first of which is this Menards red 1955 Ford pickup truck. It was included as a freebie, and I've had my eyes on this. Red Ford 1950s pickup, that's my dream car, and to have a lighted version of it on the layout was a must. So I went ahead and picked that up. And the $19.99 item that I had to pick up in order to receive the pickup truck for free is this Menards flat car with a tank on it. I've had my eyes on this for a long time. If you would have asked me before I bought my first Menards thing what the first Menards thing I'd buy is, I would probably have said the tank, and I finally got around to ordering it, and I'm super glad I did. I hope to get the 4 packs of these and have just a long military train behind my UP 4141. I think that would look fantastic. Now, Menards must be loving me at this point, because the day after I placed my order for the tank flat car and the pickup truck, I realized I needed to order another power supply for my 2 Menards buildings. Currently, I have both of them wired up to a one 4.5 volt outlet. But little did I know is that although the 2 buildings will light with just a 4.5 volt power adapter, the LEDs will not function properly. So, in the firehouse, the ambulance's lights will not flash. And in the Piggly Wiggly, the flashing Piggly Wiggly, after it goes through each sequential letter, does not stay lit for the proper amount of time. So, I have to place one more order with Menards. Hopefully, I'll have that plugged by the next layout update video so you can see these 2 buildings in their full glory. Well, that about wraps it up. Thank you for watching, and make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you enjoyed.